Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you so much for joining Respus Live. Good evening. Happy Monday, happy Monday. If you would please start a watch party and share this broadcast with your friends. I promise you, you won't regret it. It is going to be amazing, absolutely amazing. Again, if you would please start a watch party and share with your friends so that we can share this information on tonight. Thank you so much for joining. I'll give you just a few moments to share the video. And again, we ask if you would share with your friends and start a watch party. And tonight our topic is going to be get your power back. Get your power back. Get your power back. Sometimes in life, we allow things and people and circumstances to snatch our power from us. And sometimes we relinquish it willingly. And then we become powerless and we walk around somewhat defeated because we don't have the power that belongs to us. So tonight I want to encourage you to get your power back, and it's up to you to get it back. It is up to you to sit down and to figure out what it is that you need to possess and what it is that you've relinquished and you've allowed someone to snatch from you. We talked about dream snatchers and people that snatch things from us. But tonight we want to encourage you to get that power back because it belongs to you. So I want you to kind of do an inventory of yourself and search and just to see if there are things in your life where you didn't possess the power, or if you did possess it, you allowed someone else or a circumstance to snatch that power from you. And one of my goals this year was to repair my credit, because at that point, that power had been snatched from me based on circumstances, divorce, and sometimes things happen in life and things are snatched from you. I had two choices. I could allow it to continue to be snatched from me, or I could get up and do something and get my power back. So I knew it was up to me to make that decision. And so what I did was, one of my goals for this year was to make sure that my credit was repaired. I needed that power, because when you don't have money, credit is good to have. Mm-hmm. And so if you have young children watching the broadcast, please allow them to understand the importance of credit. I remember going to school, Danielle, at Fayetteville State, and in the student union, they had people set up just to sign you up for credit cards, and you had no idea what you were signing up for. So we do want you to talk to your children about credit, and if your credit is good, then share that information with someone else, because sometimes life happens and that power is snatched from us. And credit is power. It's powerful, more powerful than money. If you have a good credit score, one of them black cards, ain't that right, Danielle? You can go where you want to go and get what you want to get, and there's not a lot of questions asked. Mm-hmm. So you better make sure that your score is good. So that was one of my goals for this year, was to make sure that I regained that power back with my credit. Not only that, there were other areas in my life that I had relinquished power. I had allowed people to snatch it from me, and then sometimes I just gave it away myself. Mm-hmm. And so what I did this year was to start looking at myself and see how I wanted to get my power back. And there were a few things in every one of my goals, Teritha, this year lined up with me getting my power back, whether it was education, my credit score, taking care of my body, exercising more, eating healthier. And so all those things were me getting my power back, because sometimes when things happen in life, you start overeating. And that was one way I was satisfied some of the things that were going on in my life, because I had relinquished that power or it was snatched from me. And so I just started looking at the whole picture of myself. And I wanted to make sure that I was physically fit, spiritually fit. And that comes from my personal walk with Jesus. Wanted to make sure I was spiritually fit, physically fit. Wanted to make sure, my educational goals were well. And then my credit score. So I wanted that whole picture of me. So when I come to the table, and it's funny because, How to Get Away with Murder, the actress on that show, what's her name? How to Get Away with Murder. African-American lady on How to Get Away with Murder. Yes. I can't think of her name, but she was interviewing with her husband, and he said, I could look at you and tell you had bad credit. Viola Davis, yeah. he said, I can look at you and tell that you have bad credit. And so when you go to the table, you don't want anybody to look at you and say, wait a minute, you coming with bad credit, and we want to get married, and you want to be an asset, not a liability. So I wanted to make sure when I go to the table that I don't come with a whole lot of baggage, with debt, because it is real. It's real. You want to make sure your entire person, your entire being is powerful. So I wanted to get my power back. So again, we're talking about getting our power back on tonight in every area of our lives, physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, in whatever area you need to get your power back. I want to encourage you tonight as we watch the show to get your power back. So tonight our guest is Teritha Bunting. We thank her for coming on the show tonight. Let's welcome her to Respus Live, her first time on the show. We're glad to have you on the show. So glad you joined us on tonight. Teritha has personally helped me get my power back with my credit. Tell us about your business. Tell me, first of all, how did it start? I love the name of it. And so I'll let her tell you all that. So tell me, how did you start your business? Where did the passion come from? And then as we progress, I'll share some of my personal experiences with you. Okay. And one thing that's important to me about Respus Live is if I bring someone on the show and introduce them to my audience, I want to make sure that they're legitimate. And I want to be able to, with my whole heart, suggest this person to you and your family. Just like with the other people that I have on my show, if they come on the show and I say, this person you can rely on, this person can help you, I want to make sure that in my heart, when I go to bed at night, that I can sleep well, knowing that I referred someone not just for fame or fortune or get you out there, but I know what you can do because you've done it personally for me. So I recommend, if you are watching, to listen carefully, and I recommend if you need your credit repaired, I recommend 110% this young lady because I know what she personally has done for me. This is not a hearsay. This is Respus Live telling you what Respus Live did. So, Teritha, tell us about your business and the name of it.
Okay. My name is Teritha Bunting. I'm the owner of Clean Slate Credit and Tax Service. My office is located in Raleigh, North Carolina, but I'm originally from Leland, North Carolina. I did have an office here in Wilmington a couple years ago, but then I relocated, so I moved my office to Raleigh, North Carolina. I started my business a few years ago. Me and my husband had just got married. We went into our marriage with bad credit. We went into our marriage struggling. We went into our marriage robbing Peter to pay Paul. So it was 1 year that we went on a family vacation. We went on it was our anniversary, and we went to Disney World. So I was originally supposed to start a payroll business. I was supposed to start a payroll business, which I'm still going to start the payroll business, but that was my plans to start that first, but that was not God's plans for my life. So just riding back home, I was sitting in the back. My husband was driving. My son was in the front. So I was sitting in the back of the van. And so I began to think about all the money that we had spent at Disney World and then think about the bills that we had to pay back at home. So there were a time where we were irresponsible with our funds. We would do things with our bill money and not think about our bills. We say, oh, we'll pay those bills later, not thinking the effect that it will have on our credit. Because growing up in the African American community, our parents didn't teach us the importance of credit. They always taught us to, go get stuff, and they even put stuff in our names without even telling us, not even knowing that we had things in our name as a kid. And when we get older, our credit is all messed up because things that our parents had in our name. So God began to deal with me on the way back and convict me of how we was mismanaging our money. So he began to convict me riding back on the way home. And then I began to think, I'm like, God, so I need to fix my credit. So he said, yes, and you need to fix your credit. So at first I hired someone to fix my credit. They was not doing a good job with my credit. My husband and I credit, they was not doing a good job. So I say, nah, this ain't working. So I'm like, God, what are we supposed to do? So he said, I need you to fix your credit. And I'm like, fix my credit? Well, I don't know nothing about credit. What do you mean fix my credit? So I began to do research on credit. I began to search the laws on credit. I began to take classes on credit and understand the importance of having good credit. So once I did that, repaired my credit, repaired my husband's credit, repaired a couple of family members' credit, I knew I had the passion to help people, which I always had that even before I started a business. I always loved to help people in any area that I could. So once I did that, repaired my credit, then I launched the business, Clean Slate Credit and Tax Service. And once I launched it, it just took off from there.
So you actually started your business after you had someone to help you, and then you realized it was something you could do yourself, and you could do it better. So when you were doing a self-analysis when you were at Disney World, something just registered that, wait a minute, this is not the correct way of living. I like how you said it because it is so true. I know people personally that has put cable and other utilities in their children's name, and it is sad, but it's true. And so we don't give them a fair start when they get 16 years old and apply for something and their credit is already jacked up because we have cable and cell phones and other things in their names, furniture, and the list can go on. So we do want to educate our children, and this is why this show is so important. And I plan to personally watch it with my daughter myself, because it is important for her to know the importance of credit at an early age. And you need it in this world, because unfortunately, sometimes we don't have the cash. And when you don't have the cash, credit works just as well, if not better, in a lot of cases. So we do want to teach our children and educate them the importance of credit. And that way we don't have to borrow from Peter to pay Paul, or borrow from other people.
That's right.
Because we have our power back. And that's why the show is called Get Your Power Back, because once you reestablish your credit and get your power back, then you don't have to borrow from people. You become the lender and not the borrower. That's and that's right. The way it's supposed to be anyway. We're not to owe any man anything but to love them. And that's what the word say. We are to love them. And I'm not saying we may not hit hard times and sometimes need help. I'm definitely not saying that. But it is important for us to make sure that our scores are at a point where if we need to get something, we can get it. So you started your own business, which is amazing to me. So you saw a need, you reached out to someone else for that need, and then it registered that you could do it yourself. You got your power. And then not only that, you did something about it. You knew that it was up to you to make this decision.
Yes.
So tell me, how scary was it for you to start your own business? How old were you?
How old am I now?
No, when you started your own business.
I was 34.
34, starting your own business, African-American female, fresh out of the gate. No prior experience, no prior history. I'm loving this. This is why we got to see it before we see it. So tell me, how scary was that for you?
It was very scary because, for one, I was worried about finances at that point. I was worried that I wouldn't make enough money in business to supply, the needs for my family, to help out with household things. So it was very scary for me to do that, but I had to step out on faith. It was either I was going to get out there, I was going to either swim or drown. So I chose to swim. So I got out there and I just did it. Faith without works is dead. So I put in the work. I studied hard. I stayed up night and day. We had just got married. My husband would be fussing at times because I would be up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, processing credit files, studying different laws. I started in my home. My husband bought me a small computer that was like $150 from Walmart. Again, we still was struggling.
Right.
So he bought me a small computer from Walmart. I started working inside my home. Like I said, I started a couple of family members' credit, was doing hours at the same time. Once that happened, God began to send clients. And then I moved into my office in Wilmington, and it was just a total faith walk. I went in blind. It was a total faith walk.
That is awesome. So when you first started, you were still working another job, or you were just,
yes,
you were doing both?
I was working part-time, and I have a CNA license, which I still do carry. But yeah, I was working part-time at the nursing home doing CNA, and then I was working the rest of the hours doing my business. Okay.
So you started with clientele, family first.
Yeah. Family first. And I also did free credit repair. I'll free credit repair to a couple people just so I can test, my knowledge and what I learned and all of that. And then after I did that and was successful with that, that's when I started to charge.
Yes. And so you started charging, and then eventually you stopped the part-time work and became a full-time.
I began full-time. Even when we moved to Raleigh, it was just a total faith walk. Moving to Raleigh, I left my office here. Now I had office here, clientele here, all of that. But we had to leave. So we left, we moved to Raleigh. Still on this faith journey, going into a new city, new business.
Wow.
There's a million credit repair companies in Raleigh too. And, just going there, I went there, and then I took a job when I first got to Raleigh. I didn't want to take the job, but I took it because I knew things were still kind of iffy, So I took the job at a nursing home again. And at the job, God just began to convict me because I'm an entrepreneur. So I was working on this job, and I love older people, don't get me wrong, but every day I went to work, I hated the job, and I'm thinking about my business, and I'm like, man, I could be home doing this, doing that, and that. So, so I end up getting fired from the nursing home because I just couldn't make it on time. I had to be there 7 to 3. It just didn't work out. So I left that, and then I got my office in Raleigh, started getting some clientele in Raleigh. Then I took another job in Raleigh again at a mental health hospital. They paid really, really good money. I was working night shift, and that was the worst decision ever in my life because I've never worked night shift. I was having clients call me. I'm just getting off 6 o'clock in the morning. I had clients scheduled. They're calling. I couldn't answer the phone because I'm so tired till I just feel drunk because I'm so tired. So, and I'm like, God, and he just dealing with me. You're not supposed to be here anyway. So here's when it kicked off. When I left that job, When I tell you God has blessed me and my family tremendously because I obeyed him.
Wow.
I obeyed him. I left that job and I have not looked back ever since.
That story sounds so familiar with a dear friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a faith walk. And I'm glad you're sharing the story because it's powerful. We don't despise small beginnings.
That's right.
You took your small beginning and you did not despise it, because sometimes we have to crawl before we can actually walk. So it was a small beginning and you had a support system, because it sounds like your husband was there 110%.
Yes, he was.
That is a blessing. And so you had an amazing support system, and you started off small, and you knew this was your purpose, because once you started, you knew in your heart that was your purpose. You were still out here trying to make ends meet another way, while God was saying, I already set you up.
Yep.
All you got to do is walk in your
Walk
blessing.
in it.
Yes, you got to do is walk
That's
in
it.
and be obedient. And then the thing that blessed my socks off is when you said, when you obeyed him completely, that's when everything started falling into place.
Everything. I mean, I met this one person in Raleigh, North Carolina, and it changed my whole entire business. All it took was for God for me to meet that one person,
That's
and
good.
it changed the whole aspect of my business. Like I'm not exaggerating. Like I truly thank God that I obeyed him, because had I not obeyed him, then I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And I'm still not where I need to be and want to be, but I'm on the way.
And that is good. You're growing. So all it takes is one yes from God and meeting the right people at the right time. And then your doors begin to swing open. And I love that, because when you're in the right place at the right time, and you know it's a divine setup, a divine intervention, then you're able to walk in it. So that one relationship blessed you real good and expanded your business, because one of my next questions were going to be, how did it grow? Was it word of mouth, or do you do advertisement?
To be honest with you, I don't even do a lot of advertisement. It's just word of mouth. People credit that I've completed. They tell other people, and it just happens like that. I really don't get out and market like that. Every now and then, me and my husband will go out, but it's just really word of mouth. God sends the people. I don't have to go looking for them.
I love it.
Because not only he knows what I need, he knows what they need too, because he cares about them just as well as he cares about my
And
needs.
that's one of the things I love about you and your business, in the process of restoring the credit. Because when you have credit, you're still borrowing, and you still got to pay it back. But with you take care of the entire client. It's just not about establishing my credit, but you're telling me how to keep my credit and what to do and not to overindulge. And she's like, this is the deadline right here. Don't go over this price right here. You make it really clear. So not only do you help people restore their credit, and I'm make it personal, not only did you help me restore my credit, you set me up to be successful. You gave me steps as to what I need to do, and you say, I obey you. I'm like, yes, for one, I'm paying you my money. And for two, I want my credit up.
Right.
So I'm going to listen to you, because this is your gift. This is what you're skilled at. And you were recommended to me by my nephew, Tyrese.
Okay.
Tyrese Respus.
Okay.
From Tyrese Respus, he referred you to me because I was in the process of trying to find, because like you said, it's a lot of people out there. I wanted someone that had an experience with someone personally, because I just didn't want to pick somebody and that person not do me justice.
Right.
So you came as as a referral from my nephew. And then you set me up for success, because you say, okay, Sharon, we got this for you, and we got that. And you were like, are you excited? I was like, not really excited. She was like, you're not excited? I was like, no, I'm not excited. But what makes me excited is that you tell me, okay, don't spend past this amount, because if you do, this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. And you got to pay your bills on time. You got to do. So you coach me along the way. And so not only do you help restore, but you help us succeed. So that's why I want, and typically we have about 2,000 followers.
Okay.
More than, sometimes we're at 4. So there's about maybe 2,000 to 4,000 people going to see this.
Okay.
And I want to recommend all of them to you, because of what you've done for me and my family. You've set me up for success. And I love that about you, because not only are you in it for your financial needs, but you want everyone to succeed.
That's right.
And that's a gift, because you don't find it often.
No.
Because greed is everywhere. It's prevalent. And people just do things to get their money and their pockets back. But you want everyone to walk away with an amazing experience.
That's right.
To be successful.
That's what it's all about, because everybody deserves good credit. Everybody deserves good credit. Like I have clients that have come to me, and their motive is pure, but they really don't have the money to repair their credit. So sometimes I take on clients for free to repair their credit, because not only do I want to see them succeed, I want to see them grow financially too as well. Because like you said earlier, you can have all the money in the world, but credit is power.
It is.
Credit is power. You can go to the bank. You can have $50,000 in the bank, and you go to the bank to try to borrow a loan. They don't care about your money in the bank. They want to see that credit score.
That's so true.
Yeah, they want to see that credit
true.
score.
That is
so
true.
if you don't have credit, what's the use of having money?
That's true. That is so true. And again, this is why we want you to watch this and share it, because this is good information to set you up to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Because in life, we want to make sure, even if we don't need the credit, if we don't use the credit,
Mm-hmm.
you have it. You know, and
That's right.
that's a good thing, because if you don't need it, that's fine. If your credit is good, then that's fine. You've done well.
Mm-hmm.
But help someone, pull somebody else up along the way and tell them how they can get their credit repaired and restored. Because unfortunately, we don't have a lot of conversations
Mm-hmm.
about credit and the importance of it with our children.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is why I'm hoping that we're sharing this video on tonight, and that so many of us that are watching is telling our children and sharing with our family members the importance of restoring your credit.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if your credit score is not good, I personally recommend Teritha to help you get through the tough times, and she's able to do it. Now, it's not a free service, and I want to make that clear.
Yeah.
Because you know how we do. But you get your money's worth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can personally tell you that her services are not free, and she has to eat like we do. But I can promise you also that when she finishes, because with me, it took like 4 months.
4 months.
And we
you're
were
done.
thinking 6 months when we
Mhm.
started. Because I'm
Mhm.
telling you, you're talking about some, I say, Teritha, child, you don't understand. This stuff is jacked up, honey. I'm talking about you got your hands full with Miss Sharon Janine. And she was like, oh, no, we got it. She was so confident. I'm like, okay, you wait till you see that score. She's like, we got it. And in 4 months, you had me in a very good place.
Mm-hmm.
A very good place. Tell this, because so many people think that this is the key to restoring credit. You already know what I'm getting ready to say. They think that they can do that, and that's it. Tell them it's more than that.
Yeah, it's not just on the credit repair person.
Mm-hmm.
You have to follow the rules of the program. And one thing that I can say about you, you really followed the rules of the program. You follow every step to the T that I taught you. And that plays a big factor in the program too, because if you get a client that's, okay, say I tell them not to apply for credit during the program, they're applying for credit, and then they're wondering why their score is declining and not inclining, going up.
Mm-hmm.
It's increasing. It's because they're applying for credit inquiries. Not that inquiries play a big factor in the score, but it's 10% of the credit score. So you're still losing points, especially if you got a thin credit file.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to follow the rules. You have to pay your bills on time, because say if I'm doing your credit, we're getting deletions, the score is going up, but it's steady going down too at the same time, because you're maxing out your credit cards, you're going over your utilization, you're paying your bills late. One late payment can drop your score 100 points.
That is so good. And I want you to say that again, because, and this is one thing that you teach us, is to make sure we pay our bills on time. That's a lot. 100 points is a lot.
Yes.
If you are late paying your bill, 100 points.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people think, okay, we can dispute this and get this off our file, and then our credit score go up. That's another false thing that we've been taught.
Mm-hmm.
Paying your bills on time is key.
That's key.
It is key. So one of the things that I did, especially with things that show up on my credit report, is to make sure that I get those paid first, because they're going to affect my credit. And so once my score start going up, and I think this is what happened with a lot of people, Teritha, once that score start going up, they want to go buy something. Oh, I don't want to buy nothing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. When I say that's it, the credit score jumped 50 points, and now they got good credit. No, you're not done with the program. Yeah, your score is going up, but you still got to follow the rules of the program.
Yes.
Because if you don't, then it's going to make me look like I'm not doing my job.
Absolutely.
But you're really not doing what you're told to do.
Exactly. So once my score start going up, and it didn't take long for me to really see a significant difference. And I would send it to Danielle, and I sent her a screenshot. I said, "Girl, look at my score," and because I was excited, because it was one of my goals for this year, is to make sure that my score went up, so that if I needed it, because I don't want to use it.
Right.
I want to live as debt free as possible.
Right.
I want to pay off as much as I can and live comfortable. So I don't want to repair my credit to spend it. That's
Right.
ridiculous. I don't
Yeah.
want to get back in debt.
That's right.
That wasn't
That's
my
right.
purpose. My purpose is if I need it, to God be the glory. If I need it, it's there.
It's there to utilize.
And I don't have to borrow from you. I can borrow from myself.
Exactly.
That's the only reason why I wanted it restored. But so many times we get it restored and we get our score up and then we want to go buy something. And then we bogged right back down again in debt. So the thing that you teach us is get out of debt and stay out of it.
And just because you have good credit, that don't mean go out and get everything in the world, because you got to realize you still got to pay this stuff back.
That's good.
You still got to pay this stuff back. So if you know you don't have the income to be out here going to get all this stuff, even though you got good credit, don't do that, because you're going to find yourself right back with bad credit, because eventually you're not going to be able to pay for it.
That's true. That is so true. My sister was sending me
and I also want to touch bases on when you were talking, you were saying tell the teenagers and stuff to watch this. I started building my son's credit when he was about 14 years old. He's 18 now. He's in college. My son has over a 700 credit score in college. So he didn't go into the real world with bad credit. I taught him the importance of credit. They listened to me. They came to my office when I was working at times, helped process files. Now he's in a good predicament. So when he does graduate, which I'll still be monitoring his credit, when he does graduate college, possibly, as long as his income is straight, he could buy him a house if he wanted to.
That's good. And that's good.
He has A1 credit.
So what are the things, because I noticed for most teenagers or young adults, they have no credit. So what are some ways that we can help our children at this age to set them up to start building credit?
Okay. A way that you can do it's really easy, but it relies on the parent. Your credit cards. You have to add them on as an authorized user on your credit card. But if you have a credit card that you have missed payments on, and that if your credit card is overutilized, don't add them on the card, because what reports on your credit is going to affect them too. So it's on the responsibility of the parent, because they're relying on the parent's credit because they're added on as authorized users.
So that's good to know. So any card that I have, I could add her as an authorized user, and that would help her build her score.
It would help her build her score.
Good. Because unfortunately, without a score, it's like having bad credit. Yes. And so we have to make sure that we set them up for success, not wait till they get 19 and 20 and send them out there and say, go buy something. They was like, well, Mom, I can't buy it because it says I have no credit. And no credit is just as worse as bad credit.
It is.
So that is a good tip. And if you have any questions, please feel free to put your questions down. I'm sorry. It says, after paying off credit, how soon can you close the account without it hurting your score? That's a question from Denise Robbins. Thank you, Denise.
Okay. There's some facts to that too. If you have a thin credit file and you close a credit card, it's going to affect you tremendously. Now, a person like me, I have loan credit history. So if I was to close a credit card, it may not affect me as much as it would someone with a thin credit file. Someone with a thin credit file, it could drop their credit score.
Okay. And this one person says, I get a disability check, but how do I go about building credit with no other income? That's a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question. The best way to do that is to get added on as an authorized user.
Get someone
but
to add
eventually they still will have to build their own credit. Because even if she's on disability and say she go apply for something and all she has is authorized user accounts on her credit, the bank is going to look at her as if she still has no history because she's writing off someone else's history.
Latasha says, do you report to all 3 credit bureaus?
Do I report?
Latasha, could you verify that question when you says, do you report to all 3 credit bureaus? Are you asking about her and her business? Or should you, when you purchase something, make sure it reports to all 3?
Yeah.
So if you purchase something, you want to make sure it
reports to all 3.
And I didn't know that. And that was one thing that I found out once you start doing my credit. I purchased a vehicle and that vehicle didn't report to all 3 credit bureaus. And so maybe my score was higher in this bracket and under this bureau, but not all 3 because the company did not report to all 3. So it is imperative when you start buying things, you make sure that they do report to all 3 credit bureaus. And I think that may be Natasha's question. So yes, if you're buying something like a vehicle or a home or a loan or something, you want to make sure they report to all credit bureaus. That's a good question. I was just seeing if there were anything else. So it looks like for the person that's on disability that you can become an authorized, become on someone's, say it for me. I'm getting
authorized user on someone's credit card.
And then that will help them kind of restore their credit, but then they'll still need to branch out maybe with something small.
They have to get a secured card. And even with that.
A secured card. That's a good idea.
Secured card.
Okay.
And even with that, if they got collections on their credit report, they're not going to see a big increase even with being added on as an authorized user and getting a secured credit card, because they have collection accounts that's on the credit report. Anything within the 2 years really affects the credit score. I hear a lot of people say, on Facebook, and people are asking about credit, and they're telling them just to go get a secured credit card or get a credit card, and that fixes credit. No, that does not fix credit. If you have collection accounts on your credit report that within the 2 years, they are definitely affecting your credit score. So you just getting a credit card is not going to fully get your score where it needs to be at. It will help, but it's not going to get it where it needs to be.
That's good. That's good information. And one thing that I want to do tonight, and I haven't mentioned it to Teritha yet, but we want to bless somebody tonight with at least a free consultation with you.
Yes.
So before the end of the show, I'm going to ask somebody to pick a number or something. So
we'll actually give away a free credit repair.
Okay. Look at God.
Okay.
So we're going to give away a free credit repair tonight. And so y'all keep watching, and towards the end, don't let me forget, because I will. We're going to actually give away a free credit report, and that's going to bless someone tremendously. And thank you so much for offering that, because I was going to do half myself. Oh yeah, and you have to follow the rules. That's the only way to succeed, is following the rules.
If they don't follow the rules, I will have to drop them from the program.
So I want everyone to listen, and I see a lot of people are signed on, and thank you so much for signing on. We're glad to have each of you on tonight, and please continue to drop your questions. We're going to offer a free credit report.
Free credit repair. I'm going to repair the credit.
She's going to repair your credit free. That means no charge, but you have to follow the rules. So continue to watch the broadcast, and we're going to ask a question about a number or something, and we'll figure out who the winner's going to be. So again, if you know you need your credit repaired, it's okay. Yeah, it's perfectly okay.
Right.
It's perfectly okay, because that was one of my goals this year, is to get myself together, just in case God sends Boaz.
When he sends the Boaz.
I'm gonna say if, because I don't know.
Ain't no if.
I might be single the rest of my life, but anywho, if Boaz come, I'll be ready. That's
right.
That's going to be ready when Boaz come. So again, thank you all for signing on and for asking the questions. And Denise wanted to know, how long is the program?
I don't give a time frame because I can't.
Yeah, because mine, we were thinking maybe 6 months, and mine ended up being 4 months. So it depends on the individual's
credit report. Everybody's credit report is different. So I just don't like giving time frames, but my program is for 6 months. It's for 6 months. But if a client needs to be on my program longer than 6 months, then we have to redo all the paperwork if they need to be on it longer. But I don't give a time frame, because if it don't happen within that time frame, I don't want them looking at me and say, well, you said it was going to be done in this time frame, and I can't do that by law anyway.
And there's a question, Jacqueline Gilmore Jackson. Thank you so much, Jackie, for signing on. Can you gift the free credit repair to someone who is in need of it? So if she wins it, she wants to know if she can give it to someone that's in need of.
Sure.
You sure can, Jackie. She says that's fine with her. My sister Anna says she's headed to work, but she'll have lots of questions. So Anna, just please send me those questions, and we'll make sure that we'll get them answered for you. Again, this show is to help us to get our credit repaired, and we want to snatch our power back, and we want to make sure financially that we're set, and that our children are set. And that we set them up for success, because either you're going to set them up to fail, or you're going to set them up to succeed. And it is our job as parents to make sure that when they step out the door, God forbid, if he calls me home before Christina steps out that door, I want to have her prepared as much as possible, not only spiritually, physically, financially, mentally, in every area. So we want to make sure that our families are whole. And so if your kids' credit's jacked up because you went and got cable, stop.
No, but that's true though.
Because you went and got cable in their name, then you make sure you put your name down here and see, can you read this free report?
That's
so you get your kids' credit repaired, because you want to make sure that they're headed for success when they step out the door. And unfortunately, we didn't. I don't know if we knew any better, if we did, or I don't know.
think I knew any better.
Yeah, and so we need to make sure that we get this straight, because it's time for us to snatch our power back and make sure that we walk freely, not owing any man nothing but to love him. It's a good feeling.
That's right.
When you don't owe anybody anything.
That's right.
When you can go on vacation, because I watch you on Facebook, sis, and you be everywhere. I was like, you better vacation, and I love it. And that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to live this life, and we're supposed to be blessed. And honey, I see you be looking good. I said, yes, queen. This is what we do. it didn't start off like that.
No.
You started off with a small computer for $150.
$150.
Now you can buy what you want to buy. That's God. You
It's all God.
You give him all the glory.
He gets all the glory because, and I want to touch bases on this. We as people, God wants to bless us in every area of our life. He don't just care about the spiritual side of our life. He cares about the natural side of our life too. So, we have to obey the laws of the land, and that's paying your bills on time too, paying your creditors, paying who you owe. A lot of African American, I'll say, and then even in the Christian community, and I'm a Christian, so I don't want nobody to take this personally, but even in the Christian community, we tend to think that, things are going to fall out the sky into our lap. You understand? A lot of people want houses, they want cars, they ask God for all of this stuff. They want to buy a house, but you can't even pay the rent on time that you have. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, I got you.
Like, you can't even pay the rent on time that you have, but you asking God for a mortgage. God is not that kind of God to set you up for failure like that when he knows that you can't even pay the rent right now.
Right.
You got to crawl before you walk.
Absolutely.
So, we got to use wisdom and knowledge in these days and time. We really have to.
It is so true. It is so important. And this is why we're snatching our power back on tonight. We're getting our power back because we're feeding knowledge to the people. And we have some more questions. Sheena was saying the college students really need to hear this. She says, because that's where most students forget how important credit is. Because when you go in those student centers, they're setting up for you. They're waiting to give you a credit card. And for goodness sake, whatever you do, don't you get one unless you need one.
That's right.
And because once you borrow the money, you have to pay it back.
That's right.
And you have to pay it back on time. And that's what causes us to go deeper and deeper and deeper in debt and causes our score to continue to fall is when we borrow stuff and don't want to pay it back on time. You have to pay it back on time. And then Nicole Brown signed on late, but she says, how do I start my son with good credit history at 16? Now, she has answered this question, but Nicole, we're going to let her answer one more time for you because it's a good question, and somebody else may have signed on, Nicole, about the same time that you signed on and want to ask this question. So we'll let her answer that as well.
Nicole, if you have any credit cards, what you would do is add your son onto your credit cards as an authorized user. Now, just make sure that you have no late payment history on your credit card and make sure that your credit utilization is below 30% because everything that reports on your credit is going to attach to his credit report. So make sure that you're paying your credit card bill on time and you're keeping your credit utilization low.
That is good. And Danielle was saying how your integrity has actually advertised for you. And it is so good to say that because you don't have to have signs and billboards. It's how you care for your clients because I speak personally how you've taken care of me. And I can contact you at any time because something that hit my mind at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I got to ask you why it's on my mind. She pops right back. And when you say you're going to get back to me, you get back to me. And I love to do, you don't want my business. Tell me you're going to do something and I'm paying you. You don't do it. Your integrity is amazing. And if I ask a question, she answers it. And she'll say, I'll respond tomorrow. I'm going to hear from you tomorrow. That's integrity. And that's how you build your business. And that's why I'm going to recommend every one of my followers. And I hope this show hits 4K or more so they can understand if you need your credit repaired, if someone in your family needs your credit repaired, this young lady can help you repair your credit and then succeed because you can get your credit repaired and go and buy some new furniture, buy your new car and get further in debt. And then you right back where you started from.
Right back.
We want to make sure that you have your score increased and we're going to just let it sit right here for when we need it. And then when we need it, we can tap into it because there are emergencies where you're going to need it.
That's right.
And I might let you borrow $6,000 to get your car fixed.
That's right.
Or $3,000, I can't help you.
That's right.
And so that's when you want to make sure you have your reserved over here so you can go and get your own credit, borrow from yourself and pay yourself back. And it is a good feeling when you're able to financially take care of yourself. It is a good feeling for my credit to be repaired. And you've set me up, and I'm going to personally share this with you. You've set me up where I am able now to have 2 major credit cards with an amazing amount of money on them that I would have never thought in a million years that I would be able to have. they're sitting there for emergencies because I have a 16-year-old. And just as soon as we got everything settled, the motor blew up in her car. And you remember you and I talked about it. I talked to her about that as well. She was like, well, you make sure you don't spend over this amount because you want me to be successful.
That's right.
And so you told me the things I need to do and the things I don't need to do.
Right.
And that's what I love about your program and how you personally take care of your clients. And it is my prayer tonight that it'll continue to grow beyond measures. Is another question. She says, I have quite a few bills in collection, mostly medical. Do I need to start paying on them to improve my credit score? And that is a good question.
No.
The answer is no, Aretha.
I'm not saying don't pay your debt because even when something is removed off the credit report, you're still responsible for the debt. But the reason why I say don't pay it just yet, because paying the collection is not going to remove it off your credit report. It's just going to stay in collection status with a zero balance. It's going to say paid. So in order for that to happen, the best thing to do is if you choose to pay that debt, because a lot of times medical bills are sent to collection companies, right? If that collection company is not licensed in the state of North Carolina or wherever you live at, they cannot collect on the debt.
That is good information. And I'm going to ask you to repeat that again, because this is what sets us up to succeed. And this is information that we need to know. Thank you so much, Aretha, for asking that question. Say that again for me.
If a collection company is not licensed in your state, whatever state you're in, they cannot collect on the debt.
That is powerful.
Because they buy debt for pennies on the dollar and they resell it and try to collect on it. If they're not licensed in that state, they cannot collect on the debt. Now, if she chooses to go and pay those collection bills off, the best thing to do is ask for a paper deletion. Paper deletion is when you do it in writing, because if you call that company and say, I'm checking on these bills, and they say, well, they're such and such, and you say, well, I want to pay them, you're in agreement with them that you're going to pay that debt, and you don't pay that debt, then you're still going to be deeper in with them. Gotcha. So make sure that you ask for a pay per deletion. Send them a letter and say, hey, if the debt is $5,000, say, hey, I'm willing to offer you $2,500 on the debt. And if I pay this debt down, will you delete it off my credit report? Because the creditors have the right to delete. They can delete it off the credit report. All it takes is a button. They hit a button. It uploads eOscar to the credit bureaus. They can do that. So if they agree to do the pay per deletion, that's the only way that you pay a debt off, unless they agree to do the pay per deletion.
That is good.
And I'm not saying that don't pay your bills, because you're still responsible for the debt. But far as repairing your credit aspect, paying all these collections off, they're still going to sit on your report in collection status with a paid balance, zero balance.
That is a very good question. Thank you so much for asking that question. Here's another one. What, if anything, can be done when close to 7 years in and this particular company restarts the collection aid again from 2014? And this is a report for over 1,500. And that happens to so many of us. This is a very good question. Mary, thank you for asking. And again, it is what, if anything, can be done when you're close to 7-year ends and this particular company restarts the collection again? And she said this is from 2004. And I definitely want you to get in contact with with her to help you repair that, because this is something that and on my credit report, there was a lot of things that kept going over and over and over again. It is something that they do a lot.
They do. But here's where consumers misunderstand this part. So say that the collection is from 2004, okay? Say she made her last payment in 2015. She made her that's when she stopped paying for it, in 2015. Her 7 years is not starting in 2004. Her 7 years start the last day she made the payment.
Got you. So
a lot of times consumers misunderstand that in that area. But from a car that's from 2004, that's 15 years ago. I know she didn't have a car payment that was financed for 15 years. So I would have to look at the credit report and see how it's reporting to see if they sold it to another agency. That's probably what happened. They probably sold it to another collection agency. Now the original creditor don't own the debt, so the new collection agency, their time can start fresh.
And then if that new collection agency is not in North Carolina, she could possibly get this off.
If they're not, not necessarily, they can't collect on the debt.
Okay.
Yeah, they can't collect on the debt. If they're not licensed in North Carolina or wherever she's from, they cannot collect on the debt. Now, a lot of times creditors have in-house collection agencies also. So it may be one of their in-house collection agency. So I would have to look at the report to see how it's reported, seeing when the last time she made a payment and all of that stuff. And I'll have to look for inaccuracies, because if there's anything that's inaccurate on the credit report, according to FCRA, the credit bureaus cannot obtain inaccurate information. It has to be 100% accurate. Yeah. So even if an account number is wrong, they cannot keep that account on the report.
And that's why it's good to have someone that knows what they're doing too. Sonia Oates has a question. She says, how much does student loans affect your credit?
Sometimes student loans helps the credit score. A lot of people, that's the main thing I get. Oh, can you remove student loans? I can't remove anything that's not inaccurate, for one. But student loans sometimes helps the credit report, because that may be your oldest account. So if that's your oldest account, even if it's in collection status, if a student loan account is your oldest account in collection status, that account is helping your credit score.
That is good to know.
It don't sound right, but it's actually helping the credit score because of the age.
Yeah. And that is important with credit. Age is very important. I didn't realize
and
that.
The only way student loans really affect the score, if they're in good standing, like if you're trying to buy a house, they might DTI, debt to income. Right. That's about it.
Yeah. And then they have some program where you can borrow a loan that doesn't include that part of your
I have a student loan program too.
Yes. So you have a student loan program. So listen, she has a student loan program, a tax business, and a credit repair. Yeah, and before we go to the tax business, I was just looking to see if there were any other questions that was popping up, because I don't want to miss them. This is very good. Y'all keep the questions coming, and make sure that we stay on the line, because she's gonna gift a free credit repair to someone on tonight. And Jackie Jackson asked if we could actually give that away. So if you win it, you can actually give it to someone that you know need it. And that would truly be a blessing, because it's really been a blessing to me. Now, there was a question about paying off things. That's one of the things I asked you first. And you said, no, don't pay off anything, because that was the first thing I wanted to do. Okay, what should I pay off first? That was my first question. You was like, nothing. And I was like, what I do? You was like, nothing. And I'm just sitting here like, I got to be able to do something. And you was like, let me do this. And I'm telling you, it was amazing to see how you actually just worked through my credit and my school. I don't even know how many points it's gone up, but I know it's a lot.
You have good credit.
Yes. And it wasn't good when I started, so it was great. But I remember asking questions, and you were like, no, just don't pay nothing yet. Let's look at everything and make sure everything is accurate. And there were a lot of things that you were able to remove because of, and you can share some of it if you like. One of the reasons you were able to remove some of the things off my report was because they were
inaccurate. Even if the debt belongs to us, if it's inaccurate, like I said, the credit bureaus cannot keep the information. And every credit report that I look at, I see inaccuracies. They stand out to me. I can spot them out.
And that was so good, because there was nothing that had to be done, Danielle, other than the fact you contacting them and telling them that it has to be removed. So right now, there's probably some inaccuracies on your report. With her knowledge and her skills, she can get that removed, and your score can go up tremendously. And so I'm just grateful for you and your giftedness and how you've shared it with so many people. And I personally recommend you to my family and friends and to all the Respus Live viewers on tonight. And so please, if you're interested in her program, we're going to give you all the information on how to. Oh my gosh, thank you, Jamie. So look, I didn't know we were already 47 minutes in. We were talking.
Credit.
So okay, we're going to talk about the tax business, and then we're going to try to give away the gift, and then we're going to tell you how to get in contact with you. And please, whenever you get in contact with her, make sure you let her know you saw her on Respus Live, so that we can actually see the numbers. I would love to see the numbers. So tell us about your tax business and your student loan business, and then we'll start wrapping up.
Okay. I repair taxes too for businesses, and I do personal taxes too as well. Okay. I like doing taxes, but I don't like doing taxes. My more passion is credit, but I do taxes too as well.
Okay. So if you need tax repair, whether it's business or personal, okay. And then the student loan program.
Yeah, it's rehab. If you need rehab for your student loans to get a lower payment and all of that stuff for the student loan program.
Okay. So if you have student loans and they're expensive, and they want you to pay $800-900 a month, because they will try you, then we need to get in contact with you to see, can we, because they will try you. I'm telling you, ask me how I know I have student loans, and they will try you. They like $900. Like, yeah, right, I ain't gonna pay you $900. That is not what I'm doing. So you definitely need to make sure, if you don't know how to discuss your business, get somebody that does, because they will try to make you pay that $900.
Yes.
So again, if you're interested in tax repair, credit repair, your taxes, personal or business, or student loan repair, this is the young lady that you need to contact. So tell us how to get in contact with you.
You can call my office at 207-9823.
Okay. And your social media.
Clean Slate Credit and Tax Service.
That's a good name. It's called Clean Slate.
Yeah.
I love that name because you want a clean slate when you get
That's
finished.
right.
And so it's
Getting
Clean
your power back.
Slate. This is how we get our power back. So tell us the name again.
Clean Slate Credit and Tax Service.
And that is on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
And you're on Instagram?
Yeah,
or?
on Instagram, Credit Report NC.
Okay, so you can find her on Instagram, Facebook, and you can always contact me either on Respus Live here on Podcast South, or you can contact me personally if you need to get in contact with her to make sure. And in your gift it make room for you. You use your gift. You didn't bury it. You used it, and you sharpened your tools, and you took your power back. Not only for yourself, because I love your story.
Yes.
At first you helped yourself, and then you realize in helping yourself that this gift could help so many other people. So you help your family repair their credit, and then you start helping other people. So your gift did make room for you. And then the Bible tells us that we are to be the lender and not the borrower. So this will help us as far as making sure that we're not borrowing.
That's right.
That we're in a position to lend to others.
That's
and that
right.
is so important. So again, if you would like to get in contact with her, please contact her on social media under your personal page, or you rather just take them to Clean Slate.
They can contact me on my personal page, or they can do Clean Slate.
Okay, so either your personal page, and it is listed as
Teritha Bunting.
Teritha Bunting. And again, it's actually tagged on our podcast. So now for everyone that's watching, looks like we have about 37 people watching. We're going to pick a number from 1 to 37. And you're going to pick the number, young man. What's his name?
Lawrence.
My
husband going to pick it.
Okay, so her husband is going to pick the number. He's over to the side. So again, y'all put your numbers down. Put your numbers down in the comments. And we're giving away free credit repair. And this is a gift from Clean Slate.
I also want to mention, I have a book. It's about how to stay out of debt while in college. It's for college kids and for parents, and it talks about building the credit. It talks about just teaching them how to apply for loans and, how to stay out of debt while in college.
Okay. And that's a book, and it's
an ebook.
Ebook. Okay. We're going to get the information. We're going to tag it. We're going to get the information, and we're going to tag it in case it's an ebook, in case you want it. For those that you just signed on, we need to pick a number between 1 and 37. And whatever your number is, he's going to pick the number, and you get a free credit repair. And if you don't need it, you can gift it to someone else. And we're still getting numbers in, so we're going to wait and keep putting your numbers in. They're coming in. We thank you guys so much for watching. Again, 0 through 37. Yes, ma'am.
And the person that wins it, once I look at their report and I see that they don't need repair, they can still give it to somebody.
So you can gift this to someone else. And so I do have a shirt for you. Okay. And again, this is one of my shirts, and it's hashtag. You have to see it before you see it. And I hope someone stops you and asks you what that means. Okay. And you can tell them about your story, how you saw it before you saw it, and how you walked into your blessings. Okay. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for coming all the way to Wilmington from Raleigh to help us to repair our credits. And again, she has personally been a blessing to me. Y'all keep the numbers coming, and I see them coming. We're going to give you just a few more minutes. And we want to give a shout out to our sponsors. Our new sponsor for Respus Live is Cumberland County Christian School from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Thank you so much for sponsoring Respus Live. The owners of that school are James Respus and Dr. Jessica Respus, my brother and sister. They actually have sponsored Respus Live. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show. And if you would like to be a sponsor of Respus Live, please contact me. Just give me a message on Podcast South or inbox me, and I'll give you the information on how you can become a sponsor. But I do want to thank Cumberland County Christian School for sponsoring Respus Live. And again, if you want to get in contact with Teritha, you can actually find her on Facebook under Clean Slate Credit and Tax Services. Give her that information. We're still getting numbers coming in. Also, we want to give a shout out to A&A Promotions for our music, our intro. Antron, thank you so much for you and your team for getting the Respus Live intro music. I love it. It is fire. And my makeup is by Drea. She does an excellent job every Monday. Thank you so much. And again, a shout out to Cumberland County Christian School in Fayetteville, North Carolina, for sponsoring the show. Thank you guys so much for your questions and your interaction. And make sure, if you want to watch any of our past shows, you can go to www.podcastsouth.com. Podcastsouth.com. Sheila Washington won? One.
She won the free credit repair.
Sheila Washington won. Oh, okay. What was the number?
13.
He picked number 13, and Sheila Washington, you are the winner. Yay for Sheila.
Can I have her information too?
Sheila, if you would.
If she don't mind.
Sheila Washington. They're still putting the numbers in. Sheila Washington is the winner. Sheila, if you could, send me a message on well, I got your information anyway, but send me a message, Sheila, so I can make sure I get the information to her. Thank each of you all for signing on and for putting your numbers down. They're still putting the numbers down. We appreciate Sheila. Thank you. There's Sheila. Sheila won the free credit repair. Sheila Washington from the big city of Burgall, my home girl. We are so happy for you, Sheila. It was 13 and she picked the number 13. So thank you so much. This has been great. Thank you so much for coming all the way down here, blessing so many people. And I know for a fact there's no doubt in our mind that we're going to get our power back.
Amen.
I feel so much better going to sleep at night knowing that there is some security.
Yes.
Because I got in contact with you, and that was just so Burgall, but it's okay. I got in contact with you. But I you know how you say something you hear, but that's the Burgall in me. I love it. But it is so good to be able to rest at night knowing that if there is an emergency for Christina and I,
you can go get it.
I can go and get it. And I was not in that position when I first met you. I was in no position whatsoever to do that. So you have blessed me and my baby. And I thank you for that. Continue to use your gift to allow us to get our power back.
Amen.
It feels so good knowing that if anything happens,
that's right,
I have access to that.
That's right.
And it only came through me following the program step by step, and you coaching me all the way. You didn't throw me out there and you didn't leave me. You coached me the entire time. And I am a witness, Respus Live viewers, that this young lady is passionate about what she does. It is not free. She has a family to take care of, and it is not free, but it's affordable. It is worth it. It is so worth it, because so many people want to pay $10, $15. You know, it's worth investing. It's an investment, and that's the way I looked at it. I looked at it as me investing in myself.
That's what,
and that's what I did. Every one of my goals for this year. And we're almost done with this year, and thank God all my goals have been met. But every one of my goals was making sure that I received my power back and investing in myself. And this was a powerful way to invest in myself.
That's right. A lot of people look at it as if it's a bill. It's not a bill, because you got to think about the future.
Yes.
How it's going to help you in the future. It's going to release financial stability, because at the end of the day, your interest rate that you're paying on different things will not be as high. So you won't have as many, as much money to put out on different types of things that you accumulate.
That is so true. That is so true. I was still looking at the questions coming in. Again, we want to say congratulations to Sheila Washington. She is the winner of the free credit repair. Sheila, thank you so much. I want to thank each of you all for signing on to the program. Thank you for your comments, and we appreciate everyone that signed on today. Thank you so much for signing on to Respus Live. Again, thank you for coming from Raleigh to be on Respus Live. Thank you for everything. Look, Sheila already sent me her information. She ain't playing. Okay. I love it.
I'll contact her tomorrow.
Jamie, can you block Arthur Lane off of our podcast show? I'm not sure who Arthur Lane is, but he needs to be blocked with his comments. So thank you, Sheena, for letting me know that. That's what I was looking at. It took me a minute because I was looking at some of his comments. If we can get him blocked, Jamie, thank you so much. So thank you all for signing on. And unfortunately, even in the midst of doing something good, there's always the enemy. But we have our power back.
That's
so
right.
We're not thinking about you, Arthur, and your little comments on our live. But thank you for signing on. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Clean Slate Credit Repair. Please check her out. Give her a call. And if you need to get in contact with her, please, you can actually contact me. I'll be more than happy. And thank you all for signing on. And again, thank you for signing on. And may his peace be with each of you until we meet again. God bless you. Thank you so much. I was about to get emotional. I was like, I don't want to do that.